In this second episode of Tom Fuller and Robert Taylor sitting down having a chat, they talk about all different sorts of subjects, and there's lots of interesting snippets for the local historian. Listen closely about their views on health and safety and how things have changed. About the Skilton Cup. You've never heard of the Skilton Cup? Watch this episode. About the Bricklayers Arms, the good yards at Jarvis Brook. You didn't know there was a good yard? Yes, there was a big trains good yard at Jarvis Brook. How they loaded and unloaded coal by hand, and they were involved in delivering the local parcels. Robert explains the old-fashioned type of Google Maps, which he refers to as desert maps. Lots of different names of local people. Some I'm sure you'll recognise, and some I certainly can remember. Pillboxes, aeroplane crashes, lots of details about the army camp, which is very interesting, and some very interesting animal welfare. Please watch this episode and enjoy.
Bag of cement that had gone out, and I looked across
Well,
it.
the
Like,
little bag or the big, no, the little bags.
well, I suppose they're half underweight bags.
Yeah, yeah, they're not big what we used to carry.
It was about where that settee was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The boys standing there, on here, and they was all putting it in, and I looked across at it like that, and he went, "I can see you're looking at it." He said, and he picked it up, but I said, "My arm hurts."
Yeah. But they're only baby bags, aren't they?
Yeah, because, tiny things.
Because when we first had them, it was a European directive, and we was always having 100-weight bags for cement, and they had these little baby bags because they said it's too unhealthy for you to pick up the big ones, so they have the little ones. Well, the builders did not want little bags. They really didn't, and we said, "Well, we're not gonna. You're gonna have little bags because they're just waiting for one builder's merchants to say we're not gonna have them." And then we're going to get fined like a ton of bricks. So you're going to have these little bags. So I'm out Holzman Den, and we tipped a couple of free load of ballast down, and I've come with the cement, and it's got to go the other side of these piles of ballast. So then all these builders made a chain. And I'm on top of the lorry, passing this to this one carefully. He's grabbing it, and he's going, "Ugh." Mate, he's catching it, and to the next one, they're throwing it at each other. I said, bloody waste of time. Me coming with these little bags and European directives saying you've got to have these small ones, you're throwing this stuff about like this. And what he said was, it's totally true, he said when we were school kids we had medicine balls as heavy as this. And we were little kids, didn't we?
Yeah.
Big old leather medicine balls, what we used to throw about. Yeah. And that's why we're all fit and healthy now, Tom. Or broken like broken wrecks. Yeah, you just can't believe it, can you?
No.
But anyway. There we go.
Good, isn't it?
It is good. Yeah,
reminiscing right there.
I'm ever so pleased that I had my life when I did. I really genuinely think I don't mind it being a bit of hard work. We would go down the coal yard and shovel coal. We'd shovel it out at 13 tons in each of the railway carriages, and the old man would put one of these what was them knock on air? No, they was like very heavy sheet steel, and it was like about 8 or 6 sheets, wasn't they? There was a lot of them about.
Like a shuttering sheet, you mean?
I don't know quite what they were. They was really thick old stuff. Must have been something to do with air raid shelters or something. There was lots of them about at the time. We used to lay one of them against the doorway so that you could shovel this coal out, and it would you could then pick it up with a little old tractor, a little bucket about that big, and it had a trip on it, and you trip it off to tip it off, and then you'd do that, and it would trip it back, wouldn't it? None of this.
I've got a massive.
That's it, yeah. So, we will be shoveling this damn coal out. And Dad will be loading it onto the lorry to take to the nurseries all the way around.
Sorry not to interrupt you. This is Jarvis Brook Goods Yard
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
People don't know that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with it.
And then to move the railway carriages to the next one, because there wouldn't be no train on the end of it. They'd just leave the carriages there, and you would empty them all off. And we got a crowbar with a dear little bend on the end of it, and you just put that underneath the wheel and pull it down, and it's just enough to turn the wheel. Then it puts the next carriage down and unload that one. That's how we used to do it. But yeah, British. I've still got I've got most of them. Got the hoops, and we had a framework fitting in the back of the lorry, and then these hoops went in the framework, and then we put a canvas over the top, keep all the parcels and everything. Well, you can probably remember, everything was brought by parcel. The Colonel would have his crate of whiskey, somebody else would have a pheasant or something. Lots of plants and that would come along there. Christmas time, they was as busy as ever they could be. And they would say to Grandad, can you come down and help delivering these parcels? And I'd love it, because you get tuppence here and tuppence there.
So you'd actually be going down the goods yard.
Yep.
Loading up with all these...
Back onto the... You back down on... Because the train would bring it into the station and offload it. You would back in the other side of it, like the Hall and Co side, back in, and you'd load your load up into wherever, and off you go, and you'll just deliver it all the way around here, local.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would be in the back of the lorry, and Grandad would come to somewhere and you'd say, I need sometimes a parcel, and you'd just pass him the parcel and make out like you were, hello, mister. You get your pennies and your halfpennies as a tip, and off you go.
Was that just a seasonal thing, was it?
Yeah, Christmas time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, because still got the hoops over there. Because when we were picking up the sticks at East Sophie at Crowborough Carnival, we made a covered wagon on the back of the trailer to make it look like, well, whatever. And we'd done it with these hoops. But then one of the kiddies decided that one leg was too long, and he sawed the blasted thing off. So I've got all the hoops except one of them's got a short leg. But it had special. I mean, the wood was it was still in the yard 50 years later,
Oh, yeah.
and it had all the little clips and that way you laid it on top of the sides and then put this thing down there. Oh yeah.
Make it like a covered wagon,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. British Parcel Services, and.
Care of Taylor's Yard, Alderbrook.
Yeah, it's a pity that, because that's the most green way of doing it, really and truthfully. Everything's brought by train to there, and then you just go out with a little motor and deliver it around. And they don't do that anymore. They did it at Riverhead. They brought all the material in by train. You would be up there, close by, delivering it to local people, but then the neighbours didn't like the noise, so they stopped it, and it was the most beautiful transfer place. You know, all proper bays. The train would come over the top, open the bottom, drop down, off they go, next one, and so on. Easy. But they don't want you to do it anymore, do they?
No.
Which is a shame.
Progress, Robert, apparently.
It's supposed to be progress, but I don't think it is. Not really.
So that's two things you've just mentioned which people don't know about. One is most people wouldn't even know where the goods station yard is or was, would they?
No.
And they wouldn't know where Hall and Co's was. It doesn't exist. I don't
Well,
think.
Hall and Co's had their own coal yard down
Yeah,
there.
Hall and
They
Co's
done their
coal.
own coal, didn't they?
But the actual yard's gone now, isn't it? So
Yeah.
moved out.
Yes, Parker's
Parker's all
now.
now,
Yeah,
yeah.
they've took over it. But no, we went in there, done lots of stuff out of there. And also, it was Poultrex. And Poultrex was an animal feed.
Yeah.
A bit smelly.
I remember.
And they were in paper bags, weren't they? That stuff. So we used to help them out now and again. Not so much, but because they had their own lorries. But occasionally they'd wanted someone to help them, so we slip and do that.
Did they become nitric?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nitric they began.
Didn't they have because they was at a depot up at, was it Whittam? I think they had one up there somewhere. But we was because we picked up lots and lots of these paper sacks all tied up in bundles, and we made the bonfire up on Chapel Green with them, and it looked really solid. And that's when the kiddie tried to run over the top of it. And it looked and he was drunk and said, "Oh, I can run over here," he said. And he got halfway up and fell backwards, luckily, and rolled back out. Rather singed, but and that was why, because of these bags. But then we had, so after they had them out of paper, they're then now plastic bags. And we was helping Cyril Martin up at Chapel Green with logs. And of course we wanted hundreds of bags. He used to say, "Can you bring me a few more logs in?" And all we had was these plastic bags, and they smelt of fish meal. So anyone who had logs had fish meal logs.
Stink too much.
Yeah, it did. Especially when they got wet. They were horrible.
So you must have run in and out the brickyard quite a bit with your
We did.
granddad. Well, let alone with your dad, I expect. But
Yeah, in the brickyard a lot, because what they'd do, they would have a pile of bricks out of this particular, out of the kilns, and there'd be the broken bricks would be up there, and I think, what's his name? Fred Wilmshurst, the foreman, something like that. Anyway, we'd go in there and he'd say, "Oh, you need to get a lorry load of bricks. You'd have, say, a pile out of kiln 6 and another one out of kiln 7, and then you just go around and get these bricks." And we had about a 12-pronged fork, about that wide and slightly curved, and you just to load these blasted bricks up by hand. And I'd be there with my granddad, and he'd pull up outside of a stack, and the granddad would make you throw these bricks to the other side of the lorry. I said, "What are we doing this for?" He said, "You load that side up, and your side will load itself up." And you just think, all right, so you're chucking these bricks out as far as you can. I'm very old, and lobbing them over the other side of this lorry. I said, "Well, can't you turn around halfway?" No, he wouldn't do that. He just all loaded from one side, and all had to be, and then, of course, when you filled the other side up, it was getting slowly filling your side up. And trouble is, then you get to the other end, you had to shovel them all off again, didn't you? And nothing easy in them days.
Yeah. That was all handwork, wasn't it?
It was all handwork. Even worse when Grandad said to me, I had a load of sand to go somewhere, I can't think where it was now, and he said, "You'll be all right. I've got no address." He said, you know where it is, it's down that hill, and they got a caravan in the garden. And that was his address. So off I goes, shoveled it all off, got home. I said, "You put it in the wrong place." "No, I didn't. I put it where the caravan was." "Yeah," he said, "but they moved the caravan to next door, didn't they?" I said, "Yeah, the next door can go and shovel it back again, mate. Because I ain't doing that. I've already shoveled it off once." And that's the sort of thing we had my granddad. He wasn't the best of places for addresses. Oh dear.
Kids today, eh? Need a sat nav and a postcode, mate, don't you?
We had
over there somewhere with a caravan in the garden.
Yeah, it usually worked. We had what they call desert maps.
Okay.
And it was like you go down this road and there'll be look for a red brick wall or something and a yellow car in the back, and hopefully you was in the right place, and that was it. But and then we're talking about because Henry Fuller used to make pillboxes, didn't he? That was his part for the war effort.
I think he did, yeah.
He was making the pillboxes all the way around in the war. You had so much battery, so much reinforcing bars, so much of this, and Dad used to take the stuff round, and it must have been he wasn't very old in the war, but he was with Grandad, and they was taking this stuff around, and they were down Burnt Oak, and there was a dogfight up above, and the Spitfire about way up, and it came down, and the ground was quite hard, but this Spitfire hit the ground, and the wings came off, and the fuselage went right down in the ground. And they dug that out with a chase side, and the drag line was going round, and he was taking. It was slope up from the channel. The side of the river from the channel, they were sloping down, so that Hitler's tanks went in, but the other side was high, so that they couldn't get out, and that's what this dragline was doing, and dug the old kitty out. But it wasn't not good. No. I was down by the viaducts, and we had a plain one in our wood.
Did you?
It was a Defiant.
When you say your wood,
Yeah, down Piping's Wood.
where the yard is.
No, down at Sweet Halls.
That's so your yard. Now
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
Red Bridge.
It was shot down by friendly fire up at the golf house because they didn't realise what it was. It was a 2-seater Defiant night fighter. So they shot that down, and it came down and ploughed into the edge of the wood from Valerie Delabere's field into the wood. And but the pilot and the gunner both bailed out. Both survived the war. But we had these bits and pieces of this plane. There, most of it was taken away. But we had a fella come over from, I think he come from Biggin Hill, and he was looking for bits. And he said, "Could he come and have a look?" I said, "Yeah, come and have a look." And he picked up a little bit like this. Oh, he said, "That's part of it." He knew exactly what it was, and he went away rejoicing. But before he left, he showed us a map, about that big, laid it out on the bonnet, and it was all of the plane crashes around here. And it was like if you picked up a handful of small gravel and just dropped it on this map, everyone was a plane crash. Could not believe it. They were everywhere. Because there were slit trenches over the back by the camp, and when they left after the First World War, everything was put in these trenches and levelled off. And for years, all of the bullets was coming out at the pond, down by the mill ponds, was being washed out for years.
Well, the army camp's just there. It makes sense,
Yeah.
doesn't it? And they would have aimed for this place if they could find it.
Oh yeah.
And it's not hard to see from the air. This place is.
No, that was huge, wasn't it? In the First World War, all over the back of our place was all army huts, and they had their own sewage systems and everything down there.
So you brought us round now to the war and the army and where we are,
Yeah.
which is down behind the army camp,
Mm.
in this beautiful stone host house.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you know about the stone host house.
Where we're sitting now, in this room, it was a shop. The handy stores for the people, not for the camp, but for the people that used to visit them in the camp. And it was a handy stores. In the rooms above was a cafe. And in the roundel was the offices for taxis. So it's all happened round here. And then after the...
Sorry, Robert, when you say taxes, you mean like the council taxes for the area or you
Well,
don't
I've
know?
seen pictures, and these great big motors with running boards, and the chauffeurs had leather, what do they call them, putties around their legs, and I've seen pictures of that outside of here, but I don't know chauffeured cars for somebody. I don't know any more than that. But then,
Sorry, I misunderstood. Taxes as in vehicle taxes.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
sure.
that would make sense.
I
That would
don't.
make sense, yeah.
I'm not sure. I know the chauffeurs used to live somewhere around, but they kept the cars up here. But it was a big thriving industry then, because the field behind us, I've got pictures of when there was like YMCA huts in there. There's
Exactly, field here.
cinemas and all sorts over there for the army.
Yeah.
But
'Cause
and then
down here we're actually quite a long way off the main.
three
Yeah,
quarters of a mile off the road.
Yeah. And
But-
you would just assume that it ended
It didn't.
where it ends now.
No,
but
the
of course-
whole of this area was all army all the way round.
Well, what do you think there were huts? You've seen huts?
Yeah, there were huts over the
Proper
back.
wooden
Definitely,
huts.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Not just sort of
In
tents.
in the first World
In the
War,
First
yeah.
World War. Mm.
But in your field at the back here?
Yeah. So
Right down to the pond.
yeah. And then when we bought it off the Manser family, Ron Manser, his brother used to live here, and what is now our kitchen used to be the stables. And how true it is, I do not know, but Ron assured me that it was true. The horse wasn't very well. So the vet come along and they said, what they said to him was, go up to the Crown Gate and get a bucket of beer and warm it up and give it to the horse. They were adamant this is what they did. So they went up, the Crown Gate's only just there. So they walked over and got this bucket of beer to come back, and the horse didn't look very good, so they drank the beer. And then they thought, well, we ought to have given it a chance. So they went up and got another bucket, warmed it up and give it to the horse, and the horse did recover. But this is the sad bit, the army requisitioned all the horses and they went over to France and never come back, did they? Which is nasty really, but that was
What was needed at the
what
time.
was needed at the time, yeah, definitely. But so do you remember your family having any horses, Tom?
My grandfather, yeah.
Yeah. What did he use them for, scrapping or what?
No, I think he just bought and sold things.
Oh,
as
bought and
far as I
sold them,
know,
yeah. Because my granddad had a team of horses from Connors, and they were pulling timber out, and he said that we have one horse where they pulled this log out, and that was fine, but they didn't need the 3 horses or wherever, they didn't need all the horses, so they left the one chained up to one of the oak logs, and while the other went out and pulled this one, it was going to come back for it, and they reckon this thing was just heaving on the log because he wanted to be with the others, and he's slowly pulling this thing up on his own. Well, I suppose a bit of mud and whatever as well, but I would like to have kind of just looked at them and looked at them days, just have because Grandad said they would be working Heathfield, not very far away. He was walking from Heathfield to Hailsham, and they were pulling timber back from Hailsham back to Heathfield station. And they couldn't come home from Heathfield, too far away. They finished the day, they had to stay there in the stables. And I would go out in the lorry for 200 miles, and I'd just still come home every day. And you're talking, 6 mile away, and they couldn't get home. He said the only time we will be out months at a time doing this, whatever job it was. And he said, my dad said to me one day, it's Easter, he said, come home, he said, for Easter. Bring the horse, that'll be all right, but come home. Bring the horse and cart or whatever he's going to bring. No, bring the horse home. So they thought, this is the first time we've been home for Easter for some little while. So they come home from Easter. And he said, why are you here? He said, we got two or 3 cesspits and they did unloaded. We got the horse, haven't you? He said, you can't do that. He said, then come back for your Easter break. And Grandad said, well, we should have stayed where we was.
No, my grandfather Skilton was in the war. He got badly injured on his left-hand side, really bad. But he was a man. I knew him because I used to go out when they used to do scrap, and I'd be 4 or 5 year old, so I'd sat on his lap in the lorry.
Yeah.
So I knew him, but I didn't know my father's father.
No.
I knew him, but not like I did grandfather Skilton.
No.
So I know stories about him.
Yeah.
Apparently, he spent a lot of time in the pub up the bricks.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time that he had to go up and get him out.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, most of his business came from the bricks.
Of course it would.
Because all these estates around here, he knew every one of the
Yep.
butler or whatever it was.
Yep.
And it was lighting sets in those days. Whereas, once the batteries run out and they were no good,
Right.
then he would go and buy them.
Yeah.
So I can just remember on the back of, I think it was the one down at up on the forest here. What's it called?
The Oldlands Hall.
Oldlands Hall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do it. But he did most everything. You know what I mean? His work was in the pub and he'd buy anything. Gold, sovereigns, whatever.
Mm.
Very nice old man. I liked him. He was really a nice old boy.
I think Grandad was saying about when they used to drink in the Huntsman. And he said it was quite good, he said, because the horse knew its way home from there. They just sit on there drunk
what it
and
was
the
done
horse
for,
would
wasn't
take, eh?
It was what it was done for.
That's right, yeah.
I know my dad used to say, you know what I mean, he got on well with his father-in-law.
Yeah.
But he used to say, I used to dread, he said, going out with him, because he'd say, well, just have a drink in this pub.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. He said, but won't be too long. No, we'll have one. He said, we'll be in there for 4 or 5 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, but business.
Yeah. But he was a
But you
businessman.
would do
Yeah,
business, wouldn't you?
genuine.
That's the point. You would do business there, wouldn't you?
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, there's a picture of somewhere kicking around where Jackie's dad and my granddad and great granddad and all outside the bricks and one of their outings or something. And you're talking about 50, 60 people there.
Mm.
Nowadays, you're lucky to get 5, aren't you? But it was a different thing then.
Funny thing was, he used to go in the bricks a lot, and he sponsored a cup. He used to do a egg and spoon race or
Oh,
whatever
right, yeah.
for this thing, this cup. And somebody said to me one day, I can't think who it was now, but he said, that cup, your grandfather's cup, he said, is over the Kicking Donkey, over at
Burwash.
Burwash.
Yeah.
He said, it's in the pub there. And I said, oh, is it? And I went over there and I want nothing in there. And I said, no. He said, I can't remember anything like that.
No.
But there was a picture,
Right.
and that's taken behind your place again.
Is it?
When it was a field.
Right.
Whatever it was where they had three-legged race, it was always, they went for the Skilton Cup. And what it wasn't a proper cup at all.
No.
It was, the old record players, the old phonographs.
Yes.
The flute?
Yes,
that
yeah,
was put
yeah.
on a base.
Right,
That
yeah.
was the Skilton
Yeah,
Cup.
when the dog used to look through the
That's the one.
the,
That was-
listening trumpet.
That was what they used to have. But apparently it went on for years. The photograph I'm looking at must be about 1920s, 1930s.
Right.
Because he's standing there with the cup.
Yeah,
presenting
yeah.
this cup. And I thought I would have loved to have had that cup. Because you hear so much about it from the old ones.
Yeah, thinking it was a decent car.
Yeah, I think it was a decent cup. Well, I did see it. Bloody great big cup it was.
Yeah. You probably scrapped more of those than you could have had one.
Cool, yeah.
You could have had one your own, and you could have sponsored someone else, couldn't you?
Yeah.
If you'd known.
Yeah, but whatever it was, be it darts or whatever, they went for the Skilton Cup.
Yeah.
So carried the lot.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like I went with Brian Sadder. We went over to France one time when we bought some cheese back, and never thought about it, and put the cheese in the fridge. And if you could have read French, it said, "Do not refrigerate this cheese," and it came out smelling like a polecat. Anyway, it was all wrapped up, and you could still smell it through this wrapping. So I put it in a biscuit tin and sealed it up with sellotape and wrapped it all up for Christmas. Give it to him back for Christmas. And this piece of cheese went back two or three Christmases between each of us. It was sealed up during the year and it came back. I sat in here one time and started to open, never give it a thought, started to open this present. Put the lid back on, I thought I know just what that is. And Jackie's mum and dad were living at Ashlar, rather than the Hearn school. And we got this cheese on the end of a string and had the string in the kitchen and across outside and down to the outside loo and had it up in the ceiling. And when everyone went in there, we just lowered this bit of cheese down a little bit. And they come out like this thinking, but it's me. No, it's this cheese what we had there kicking about. But, oh God. You've got to laugh, haven't you?
That's good then. I like the
Yeah.
cup. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good, isn't it?
It doesn't have to be It doesn't have to
No.
be like a big silver cup, does it?
No.
It's just enough
I wonder
that
how many people know about that.
nobody, because they're
Probably
all.
nobody much now, but
I tell you who told me, if you go over to the golf links and cut down in, you know where the second tee is?
Yeah.
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 Go down into the first place there. He used to come in the yard regular, but I've lost his name.
What? Yeah, down in Sagham's Gill.
Yeah.
Down into there.
You know where the second hole is? You come down the first one.
Yeah.
And you come across the road, you can go down to the second one. That road that goes down there.
Yeah, straight the way down.
Yeah, first down on the left
Well,
hand side.
MacDonald used to live
Mac-
down there,
oh,
but
Mac.
but he ain't around anymore.
No, but he told me about the cup.
Did he?
Yeah, he told me about the cup.
Well,
He told me where the cup was at.
yeah.
And I used to go down there because we had an old car, an old Yeoman, for donkey's years.
Yeah.
And we didn't take it back to the yard. He said, I've got a garage. He said, I
That's
don't
it.
use.
Yeah.
You can use it. Must have been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
Forgot all about it. But if you went down there, he used to have, he'd make homemade wine.
Yes, he
right?
did.
Yeah. Have a cider in
That's
this.
Jackie's
right.
Uncle Mac. It was
I'll
a
tell you-
courtesy uncle, but it was great fun down there.
The amount of times I went down there, I thought to myself, whoever I've got home from there on, you never know.
He had a lot of dogs, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there was one day, well, Jackie was looking after the house and the dogs wouldn't eat. And I think they was used to having a man feed them. So I said, well, I'll come and see what I can feed them. I'll come down there and the dog was eating. So it was, and the Matt was away for a week or so. And I come back down there one day and went in there and he said, I don't understand it. He said, these dogs you always bark with somebody. He said, they ain't barking at you, why is that? I thought, well, because I've been down there feeding the damn thing for a week. Yeah, he was all right, wasn't he? He
Yeah.
had white hair and big black eyebrows.
That's
Do
it.
you remember?
Yeah. Nice
Yeah.
old boy though.
He was, yeah.
Nice old
Yeah,
boy.
because his wife ended up in a place just below Derby.